Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 28th. Welcome to the podcast sponsored by Novartis Pharmaceuticals Corporation, the makers of Leqvio and Inclisiran. As we are every Wednesday, we're joined by Austin Ekeler, Chargers running back. Austin, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What it do, man? I'm doing well. Matt, how are you doing? Coming back, episode 3, I believe. Coming back strong. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. We're just riding the waves of the season at this point.
Waves they are. That is
the waves they are.
They are waves with peaks and valleys, with crashes and rolls, all of it.
100%. So let's just dive right into it, man. Austin, we know you are. I think at this point, people that listen to the podcast know you strive for perfection. Let me say that again. Austin, I think people at the point that listen to the podcast know that you strive for perfection. You are more self-motivated than probably 99.9% of the people out there. So how are we dealing with kind of like a tough couple of days for the Chargers after the Jags loss, man?
I'm just going to clarify real quick, because I don't necessarily think I strive for perfection, because I don't think there is such thing, because there's always little tweaks. But what thing I do strive for is the ability to relentlessly pursue the process of bettering myself, right? So it's kind of that, but not necessarily perfection. Like I don't like using that word, because it's
a better way of saying it.
That's
sure.
like perfection is like this purity that is like unobtainable, right? And so I don't want it to ever be like, oh, I get to this point and then I'm good. Like there's never an end. Like you never stop trying to grow yourself, no matter what happens, whether good things happen or bad things happen. And I would say for us last Sunday, some bad things went down, as far as injuries, as far as our performance, as far as, what we were able to do, and as far as the score, myself. So yeah, we're always striving. And here's the thing, even if we would have won the game, I'm still coming back saying the same stuff. Like I cannot wait to get back on the practice field and get back to work and get back in this call for Ekeler's Edge, talk it up, talk about it. And I hope you guys feel some type of some motivation from it too. Cause look, it comes back to life too. Like we can't control everything, like for some people, you might wish you made more money. You had a better job. You had more free time. You were more motivated. All these things that you can't control, it's like, okay, well, what can I actually control? I can control my efforts to try to work towards those things. Right. And so that's what we're going to be doing. Coming back Wednesday, I'm going to be trying to control my efforts, working towards trying to be more consistent for this offense. And that's my role. That's what I have to try to do, And so, yeah, it wasn't our best outing. That's what happens in the NFL. If you don't show up, you're going to get beat. Doesn't matter who. Jags got a good team, and they've showed that for back-to-back weeks now.
Yeah, I think that's one of my big takeaways is from the first 3 weeks of the season. Like the Jaguars aren't just some sort of, plucky, team. They're cute, they're fun, whatever. They're just good, man. Like the Jags have a good team. You guys have a good team too, but you are also dealing with a lot of adversity now at this point, right? Just from an injury standpoint. I mean, we talked in the first episode of this podcast about how important the offensive line is. You guys lose Rashawn Slater for the rest of the year. It's just such a bummer, man. You had such an awesome rookie year, such an important part of the process of this offense. We know Justin's dealing with injuries. Keenan Allen hopefully going to come back this week. Joey Bosa has a groin injury. JC Jackson, big addition, has an injury at this point. What again, none of this stuff is what you can control, right? As you just said.
Right.
But as a team, as a unit of guys, how do you sort of deal with that when it starts to, I don't want to say it feels like an avalanche or anything like that, but it's just like, one thing after another type of situation.
Yeah. What's really important to just start off with that is making sure we're staying together, as far as like, there's no, like, feel like a split, like, hey, like we're pointing fingers, like we're all in this together, regardless of who's playing, who's not playing. And yeah, we've been hit with some injuries. Every team has, to a different magnitude. That's how this game goes. And regardless of, how we feel about it, we're playing the Texans on Sunday.
Right.
So guess what that means? That means we got to go prepare for the Texans on Sunday with whoever is showing up, whoever's on the practice field for us. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that definitely sucks. Like it's not a good feeling. But it's just like, I'm going back to the same things in life. Sometimes you can't control these things. And guess what you got to do? You got to keep pushing through. And I'm going to try to bring as many guys along as I can with my energy and show them that, hey, at practice, like I'm going to be working my hardest, trying to get guys excited about getting better. And that's what I have to do as a leader on the squad. And, with those guys that are injured, I'm hoping the best for them. I'm hoping they come back quickly, but we got to continue to go. Just like if I was injured, but hey, don't worry about me. Let me get myself right. You guys go win a damn game. That's what we got to focus on this week.
Yeah, makes sense. And the Texans, they've got a team as well. Like you guys had a pretty disappointing result against them last season. So it's like, comes back to the same thing. Every week in the NFL, it's a fight. Every weekend, every week it's a battle. Every game counts, man. And, I will say this, like, at certain points, because we've talked about the AFC West, we're not going to do like an AFC West based segment this week because we have a packed show today. But everybody's this is a division that we said in the preseason, like, whew, man, every week it's going to be just haymaker after haymaker. There's a lot of teams like the Broncos are 2-1, but they're kind of struggling to figure things out. The Raiders are 0-3. The Chiefs still look great, but they lost their game last week. So, that's just how things go. Like sometimes you said it best in the first episode this year, like, players play football. Paper doesn't play football. It doesn't matter what you look like on paper. It matters about the actual results on the field.
And I'll add on to that because you're talking about how, teams are struggling, things like that. I think if you as a team or even as an individual go through struggle, like that makes the result of you accomplishing something that more glorious, right? Like when you go through some hard stuff or you had to grind through or it was not easy, that's what makes that journey or that road so much more memorable to your life and so much more impactful because you're going to have to deal with some adversity. You're going to have to overcome some things that you can't control, but you got to deal with anyway. There's just so much correlation between life and football, right? Because there's so much we can't control, but guess what? We got to move on. And that's how it's going to be the entire season. That's what NFL football is, and we're in September. So it's really early to make any type of, predominant statement like, hey, this is what's happening here, because there's still a lot of time, a lot of adjustments that could be made to see if someone can get in a rhythm, see if we can get ourselves in a rhythm. And I'm looking forward to the ride. We're going into game 4. Yeah. I'm getting a whole bunch of DMs and all this stuff about Ekeler, you're not scoring me that point. It was like, look, guys, this is not last year. Like, it's not just like, hell, cookie cutter, like, oh, you did good last year, do it again. No. You have to come out and you have to continue to put it on tape. You have to prove yourself again. We got a whole new squad. We got a lot of new faces. We got to put a new product together on the field. And so that's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find what's working for us, and we're dealing with some stuff. And it's hindering us, but it doesn't matter because we still got to get out there and try our best.
All right. Well, like I said, we got a big show today. We've got LA Dodgers third baseman Justin Turner coming up next. Let's get to it, man. This is going to be awesome.
All right. We're welcoming our next guest, Justin Turner from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Justin, what is good, my guy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Excited to be on the show. I got to admit, I think this is my first fantasy football podcast that I've been on. So
let's go, man.
Pretty fired up. Obviously fired up to be on here with you.
Likewise, my friend. Likewise.
You're a legend, man. There was a lot of debate going on in the draft room this year over you. So
hey, look,
oh, man,
we were just talking about that. We were just talking about how, look, last year is what it is. And you know how this goes in sports. Like, can you repeat what you did last year? That's not easy because there's a lot of different changing parts. It's a whole new year, a lot of, new teammates, things like that, whole new feel in the locker room. And so, as the Chargers right now, we're still trying to figure it out, still trying to get in a rhythm. But you guys have definitely gotten a rhythm and looking to do something legendary this year. Can you talk a little bit about your season? I'm curious because we're dealing with stuff right now as far as like the mindset, like coming together, we have injuries and things like that. Like, how do you guys like go through loss, like take on that, in your guys' locker room?
Yeah, we've had a lot of it this year. We just got Dustin May back, who's been injured all year. Our bullpen guys, Blake Trine and Tommy Conley. A lot of guys have been hurt, missing the season. Clayton Kershaw went on the IL for a little bit. We just had a few pitchers, Tony Gonsolin, who was kind of in the hunt for a Cy Young this year. Hasn't thrown in over a month. So we've had to deal with a lot of it, but our kind of mindset as a group is next guy up. In baseball, just like football, I mean, it takes all 26 right now, a 28-man roster, in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's not really one guy, even though, starting pitchers kind of have a bigger impact on the game. And
Right.
Certainly there's certain positions that starting catcher is a big position in baseball, being able to handle the pitching staff. So there are certain spots where, maybe they carry a little bit more weight, but we have a room that believes that it doesn't matter who's out there on the field. We're going to win a game. It doesn't matter if Mookie Betts is off that day, we're still going to go out and we're going to win a ball game because, we like our group. We like what we have in there, and how we go about our business is, it's probably better than I've ever seen it over my, this is my 9th year with the Dodgers, and we've been on some good teams, but the process of going about it is pretty phenomenal this year.
Awesome. I appreciate that. That was more of a personal question. We can dive into what we have set aside for you too, Matt. You want to hit those?
Yeah, man. No, that's good to hear you guys talk about that, like little cross sport interaction there. We love to see it. So Justin, we do want to talk to you a little bit about the Dodgers Fantasy Football League. How long has this thing been going on? How many teams are there? What's the format? And I do want to hear about your personal team as well.
Yeah, so I've been in it for 7 years now, 8 years now. It's a PPR league. We have 12 teams. The demand is very high. So almost every single team has multiple owners, 2 and 3 owners on the team. Trey Turner's the only one that was a stickler and kind of fought everyone off and said, I'm not partnering with anyone. I'm running my own team. So this year, I'm partnered up with Joey Gallo and our strength coach, Brandon McDaniel. Been with Brandon McDaniel for, I think, as long as I've done fantasy, we've been partners together. We've made the playoffs one time. It was last year.
Nice.
So we haven't done well. We're notorious for having really good drafts. And then, like we were just talking about injuries, having injuries come up and then just absolutely wreaking havoc on our roster and trying to trade and create depth. And now last year we started off 6-0 and we limped into the playoffs. We lost like 7 weeks in a row. We had Derrick Henry. He got hurt. So we had a bunch of big injuries and we were like, man, we were blowing people out. It wasn't even close. And we barely got in the playoffs. So this year, again, we had the 2nd overall pick. And that was the debate was, okay, are we going McCaffrey or are we going Ekeler? Right. And McCaffrey was a big question mark for us. Obviously, the injury, the workload over there in Carolina. Were they just going to feed him again? Was he going to break down? He is going into this is his free agent year. It's his walk year, so he's probably going to produce. There's all that going into this, and like I said, I have 2 teams. I'm on a team of 3, and I wanted to draft you, Ek, and I got.
I was going to ask about that.
We have to go. They said we have to go McCaffrey, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
Hey, he's been doing all right, man. He's been doing all right. Yeah,
he's been doing all right. I think Baker's been struggling a little bit, but maybe when he settles in, that'll probably help McCaffrey out a little bit.
No doubt. So I'm curious how the dynamic goes as far as like with 3 people on a team, like are we voting? Is it like a vote? Like, how is that? How are decisions made?
Yeah, it's kind of we have our little group text going on, and obviously we see each other at the field every day and just trying to figure out, all right, what do we have coming up? It's kind of helps because you get some different perspectives, different angles. Joey Gallo is actually pretty dialed in on fantasy and
nice.
Pretty detailed and, digging into strength of schedule and not just making decisions for this week, but what's that going to look like 2 or 3 weeks down the road? And it's kind of cool to have multiple opinions, but this league's competitive. You should see our clubhouse Sunday morning. Every TV is on a football game. The worst 2 guys the worst guy is Austin Barnes. He's crazy. Like Austin Barnes is nuts about fantasy football, and him and his partner Cody Bellinger are just nonstop, running their mouth, going out, popping off. It's wild. I wish if we could have a camera in our clubhouse on Sunday morning. I mean, it would be.
Sounds like it's better that there's no camera there.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, it's entertaining, man.
I bet. You got to be there.
Crap talking going on. Oh man, Tommy Conley is another one. He was giving a hit because he was playing Barnes and Bellinger this week, and he was just steamrolling them, and he was, oh man, wearing them out. And Barnes doesn't like to lose, so.
It's amazing. That's like half the fun of fantasy, though, is just being able to, especially when it, like, for me and you, Justin, when it comes to fantasy football. I mean, Austin's actually the one out there doing it, at least in the football side of it. Obviously, there's fantasy baseball too. So people are able to talk some trash because of what you're doing. But I mean, for goofballs like me, I'm literally not doing anything, right? Other than just like moving a guy around to a starting lineup. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to tell your friend, hey, you suck and I'm better than you, because of something you actually really didn't do at all.
It's what gives depth to the viewership of the NFL,
Yes.
like sports betting and fantasy sports, like gives so much more engagement for fans to actually be like actually invested. And so It's one of the reasons I love it. That's why we do the show, because there's so many fans out there. So shout out to all the fantasy fans that aren't toxic.
It's a weird dynamic. It's a weird dynamic though, right? Because it's kind of pulled fans away from rooting for one team and the diehard one team fans, because you have people who probably have 2, 3, 4, 5 fantasy teams.
Right.
And on Sunday, they're watching all these different games. And it's like, okay, like, for example, obviously I'm a big Dolphins fan.
Mm-hmm.
I have McKenzie on my team from Buffalo. Right. And they were playing the Dolphins this week. And I'm like, man, I'm not trying to root for McKenzie against my Dolphins.
Right.
I take him out of the lineup, right? And he goes off, puts up 20 points, but I'm just like, yeah, like
the pride got in the way.
Like different dynamics like that it's just hard. And I don't know about you, Ek, but like, because obviously it's tenfold in the NFL for fantasy, right? It's way bigger for fantasy football in the NFL than it is in baseball, but betting's coming around now on baseball, and fantasy baseball is kind of, getting a little bit bigger. And I'll get messages like every once in a while, like, oh, what the hell? You cost me, $10,000 because you didn't get a hit tonight. And and I'm like, whoa. Like, like, I can't imagine in the NFL, like you guys feeling it.
I don't read my DMs or my comments, my friend. Like I can't do it. Cause I already know, especially, if I'm not playing well or didn't have a great fantasy game, then it's like, it's just going to be flooded with toxicity, And so that's the negative about it. Right. Cause people are so invested that if you don't, play up to their standard, whatever that means, then they're in your DM. They feel like they have the right to come tell you that, oh, hey, you got to do, as if you weren't trying to do your best. That's right. That's what gets me. It's like, you didn't think I was trying. Like our opponents get paid too, man. Exactly. This is a competition. That's what makes this that's why it's competitive. That's why you watch this stuff.
You mean you're not like personally trying to screw over Brad from Wisconsin's like fantasy team or whatever when you guys go out there?
Yes, exactly.
But it's weird because on top of not performing the way you wanted to perform, and probably, letting yourself down a little bit, letting your teammates down a little bit, letting guys in that room down, like now you're afraid to open your social media and hear all the negativity. So like, it just like, the fantasy side of it is just this crazy world that it kind of controls our lives, right? Because when you go off and you have a really good game, like, it's like
everyone, thank you. Yeah.
You do something and whatever. I mean, I make an error or I strike out to end the game or something. I'm like, man, I don't even want to open my Twitter right now. And it controls you.
That's real. Yeah. Real talk. And unfortunately toxicity, right? That speaks a lot louder than anything, right? Like it's just out there because that's what gets the clicks. That's what media wants. They want to talk about the controversy. They want to talk about, team splitting or this person, busting or like things like that. So, hey, you play well and you win. It cures all that. And that's what we're all trying to do out here. So if you're listening, we're trying, damn it.
Yes. We're trying. Yeah. I want to open my social media after the game. So that's the only reason I want to play.
Hey, that's just honestly though, that's part of the mission of this show is to bridge the gap between and try to get rid of that toxicity, honestly, like as much as possible. Like, look, you're never going to be able to fix everybody. We've talked about that on the show, but I just like being able to give the perspective to people out there, to readers, to listeners, to viewers, that you guys are human beings, right? And like, nobody should have to feel that way. Like, I don't even want to open my phone because it's just going to be like an assault of negativity. So honestly, it's good to talk about that. It's good for people to hear that. But to bring it back to something a little more positive here, Justin, I do want to talk about the Miami Dolphins a little bit. You got the hat on. Hell of a season so far this year. Been a lot of fun, I'm sure, for you to watch to have thrown to these guys. Like, I mean, this is just what an unbelievable duo they got there in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And to beat the Bills too, who everybody's picking the Bills for the Super Bowl, you know, all that stuff. That's, you got to be feeling pretty good coming off of Sunday.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is I didn't get to watch like the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, which was the craziest. Like, I missed the butt punt, I missed all of that because I had to get on the field. We had a game. So, but no, it's definitely exciting. I've been a Dolphins fan pretty much my whole life. Everyone asks me, I'm from Southern California, how I became a Dolphins fan. Well, the Rams and Raiders left in '94 when I was 10 years old and didn't have a team. My older cousin, Frank, who watched me all the time, was a big Dan Marino fan, big Dolphin fan. So he would take me, we'd watch Dolphin games on Sundays, and Ace Ventura was just coming out around that time. So that kind of led me to a Dolphin fan. But yeah, excited about this year. It's been a long time since, you know, they've been relevant, I guess. And it's exciting that Tua is putting all the doubters to bed right now, and love seeing him throw the long ball when they say he can't throw the ball down the field.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this new coach McDaniels, man, he's there's something about him. I don't know what it is, but he's got all the guys buying in, and they're playing good.
Yeah, gotta love to see it, man. I'm a big fan of Mike McDaniel and the way he calls plays as well. So Justin, tell us a little bit about your foundation, what you're up to now with the baseball playoffs about to start, and everything the Justin Turner Foundation is all about.
Oh yeah, the Justin Turner Foundation, my wife and I started back in 2016. Our two main beneficiaries are homeless veterans. Growing up in Southern California, unfortunately, see a lot of homeless veterans. Every freeway exit you get off of, there's someone there holding a sign, you know, trying to find their next meal. So we partnered with this organization called the Dream Center in Los Angeles, opened up a men's veterans home, has 25 beds in it, and also opened a women's veterans home that has 18 beds in it. That's been filled to the max since day one, doing great things with our veterans over there, and helping them kind of make that transition back into society and everyday life, and get them the help they need, whether that's you know, counseling or job training or finishing their GEDs or diplomas. So it's really a neat program. And then my wife and I spend a lot of time in children's hospitals as well. So mainly CHLA out of Los Angeles. We do some stuff in Cedars-Sinai and also UCLA Mattel. You know, just creating experience for these kids that have been dealt a shitty hand in life and unfortunately are going through the unthinkable, and spending the majority of their time in these hospitals hooked up to machines. And we do whatever we can to create experiences for them and brighten up their day and try to make them, you know, forget about what they're going through. So yeah.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it takes people to help people, you know, and that's exactly what you're doing. Where, like, if I want to make a donation, where can I go? How can I get involved?
Yeah, you can go to justinturnerfoundation.com. My wife runs the whole website and has everything up over there that we're doing. You can make a donation on the page, and then we have some different events going on. I know it's end of your season, but you know, right before the Super Bowl, if you're in town, we do a golf tournament out at Sherwood, which is where Tiger used to host a shootout. So not sure if you're a golfer or not, but
I am.
Love to have you out there and playing. We got a bunch of guys come out, and it's a pretty good deal. So
awesome. I appreciate that. And I have my own foundation as well. So if you need any contributions, and everyone that's coming on here talking about their foundation, I make a $500 donation. So yeah, I'll make a donation over there today. So yeah, like I said, man, it takes people to help people, and I appreciate what you're doing. I know obviously those people do as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll go check out yours too. What do you got?
Mine's the Austin Ekeler Foundation, right? We help people be the best version of themselves by kind of doing what you're doing. We're implementing resources back into the community, whether it be, for schools, whether it be for homeless, whether it be for just, like back to school, like, low income housing people, right? We're just washers and dryers, gyms, school supplies, clothing, just funneling it back in to the community in different components. Yeah.
That's right.
Heck yeah, man.
Check that out too.
I appreciate it.
I'll send something your way as well.
I appreciate it, brother. And one more time, it was Justin Turner Foundation.
JustinTurnerFoundation.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Awesome. You guys are both doing big things. We love it. This is why we're spreading positivity, spreading more love in the fantasy sports world, whether it's fantasy baseball or fantasy football. Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck the rest of the fantasy football season, but more importantly, good luck to the Dodgers the rest of the way, man.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. Kill it, man.
All right.
Let's see it.
All right, Austin, that was great. Justin is the man. I love hearing about like both of your foundations. Honestly, it made me realize we haven't talked enough about your foundation. I think that's just good for folks to hear what he's got going on, what you got going on. Like that's what the show is all about, man. Like trying to push that toxicity out as much as possible and bring in some positivity into the light here, man.
Yeah. For me, it was interesting beyond that because, we talked about, after the loss, injuries, foundation, like there's a lot of similarities. I feel like Justin and I have probably in our life. So we probably need to link up and get something done. I'm just even talking in just like sports, how he's react. 100%. Like he's like not on social media after a lot because he already knows like I'm the same way. He's got his foundation giving back, and then he's got his camaraderie with the boys. Like a lot of crossover between sports and just athletes in general. So hopefully y'all can see that too. Cause that's pretty cool for me. Cause I don't get to talk to a lot of different athletes. And so, we have this show brings up some unique opportunities. So pretty cool.
Yeah. It's life, man. Like you said at the top, I always hate to compare like myself to you guys or anything like that. But, if I have like a prediction on the show, like one of my, I do a lot of wide receiver work, right? So like if one of my dudes like has a bad game or whatever, I don't, it's the same sort of thing to a much, much lesser degree. I know I'm like, if I look at dimensions right now, people are going to be like giving me shit when I'm like 3 degrees removed from this whole thing. Right. So, I mean, it's just as a human, you just don't want to put yourself in that. Like, and just like, there's no point. I know people do this. Like I have friends that just doom scroll and that type of stuff. And it really messes with your mind, man, especially when you guys just get so much of it.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I could see why I get it. I get it. Like people are so invested. But I'm like, imagine if your boss, if you tried to do something and it didn't turn out the way it was supposed to, or get this, the credibility or the results that was supposed to, and your boss came into you and just laying into you, ripping you is that going to help you or hurt you? It's like, our coaches are not like, if we have a bad game, like it's not like you don't putting us down, being like tearing us. No, you need to build us up, because we're trying to find some solution to move forward. And it's the same thing. Imagine if your boss stormed into your office or wherever your workspace is and was just tearing you down, tearing you how terrible you are, telling you that you're just no good, telling you that you underperform, but you're bust, all this stuff. Like that's going to play a toll on your mental, right? And so
Austin, I would take it one step further and say, it's not really your boss coming in and doing it. It's like a bunch of knuckleheads. You don't need like guys and girls walking in off the street, like that don't even work for your company, have nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Walking in and doing
right.
That.
See, imagine these random people. You don't even know these people coming in. Right. And so that's why I'm like, everyone relax. Like, relax. Like,
yeah.
Relax. Like,
yeah, 100%.
It'll be okay. Win or lose, it's going to be all right, you guys. Like, we're athletes. It is our job to go out there and train and try to perform the best that we can. There's things that you guys can't control. You guys can't control us, And so that's where the toxicity comes, because there's that separation, you know?
Well, I think too, it's about riding that wave. Like we said at the top, I said this on a couple of shows ago, when it just comes to pure fantasy football, every player goes through ups and downs over the course of the season. And sometimes it's not even like, again, I said it about wide receivers, right? Like a wide receiver can go out and run their route and get open, you know, and the ball just doesn't go their way. Not because they did anything wrong. It's just the function of the play, right? Like sometimes it's the coverage. Sometimes the offensive line doesn't give the quarterback enough time to like read all the way down the field. So there's a lot of different factors at play. So like a wide receiver can put up 2 catches, even if they did their job on like 80% of the routes they ran or something like that. So it's just, you got to ride the waves, man. It's a volatile sport. It's a short chapter sport too. And this September, the opening 3 weeks, the opening 4 weeks is just one chapter of it. I know you guys take it like a week by week thing. That's certainly the way you got to take it on the outside too. Like guys, I say this to people all the time, guys might by the end of the year put up the stats that you thought they were going to put up over the course of the year, but it's going to come in like certain buckets. And I mean, I think you're probably a really good example of that right now, Austin. Like you had 4 carries for 5 yards on the ground against the Jaguars, right? You did catch all 8 of your targets. That's awesome. But like it's like a chapter sort of thing. So let's dive in a little bit more just with you and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest surprise to me, honestly, and we know we talked about it last week, it just that it does feel like that you're not getting the ball enough, man. Like, and I know that I want to find like the right way to ask this because I'm sure you're, like I said, we know that you're a guy who demands like a high standard of himself, even if it's not perfection, right? And when the team struggles like that, how do you deal with the fact that you're maybe not getting enough opportunities to feel like I can do more? Like, is there any sort of like thought that you have there?
Yeah. And it might not be the thought that people want to hear me say, but it's, I have to control what I can control. Like right. That's it, man. Like it is Joe Lombardi's job to try to put us in the best scenario. I can give him every suggestion in the world, things like that. It is his job. That's his job. My job is to try to maximize the opportunities that I have. And I'm talking in practice. I'm talking, in the meeting room. Like I am trying to prepare myself for the opportunities that might come to me in the game, or that, things that might not, but I'm still prepared for them if they do. And so when it comes to the games, like I'm not calling plays, like right. That's Joe's job. It's my job to, when I get the ball in my hands or to protect Justin, to make something happen, to get my job done. Right. And so I can only control that. That is all I want to control. That's all I need to control, because that's all I'm getting paid for. That's my job description. That's my role. Right. And so that is all I focus on every single week, regardless of people are like, oh, Austin, you need to get more catches. Like that's all noise. Yes, I get it. We're trying to win games. Absolutely. Did I have a successful season last year? Was really efficient. Yes. Has that been the case this year? No, I've been struggling. Yes. Like it's evident. And so I had to focus on myself. Like I had to focus on myself. That's all because if I try to start getting into, no, Joe, I need to get more plays, or my running back coach or Brent, then now I'm getting stressed on things that are out of my control, so we all have a lane, and sure, people might be like, hey, Austin, you should be. For me, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I'm right here. I'm focused on what I can control, and that's my effort, and that's my production, and that's my opportunities that I get, and that's all I can see. And it's like, do you want this? Do you want more carries? Do you feel like no, because that's not my job. My job is to prepare for what is in front of us. What Joe said, hey, this is the game plan. All right, I'm trying to execute that. And so that's how I see it. Because if I start getting caught up in like, oh, I'm not getting 20 catches a game, like, no, and I'm losing focus of what I can control and what's in my hands.
Right. And as much as, you were a top 5 fantasy pick, whatever, like the reality is the Chargers are trying to win games. You're trying to win games. And for that, like you have to fit into your role. Like you said, you have to control the things that you can control. Cause then I guess you can tell me if this is true or not. I feel like from a team dynamic standpoint and again, this can relate to life too. If you come in and start like saying, hey, Joe, like Lombardi, I need this, I need this, I need that, I need this. And it's like a whole nother thing that like disrupts the entire operation.
Yeah, that would not go well. We can have a conversation. We can have a conversation. Absolutely. There could be conversations like, if I'm like, hey, Joe, like, I feel like I like these types of plays, give them some little tidbits as far as like what I like and what I feel comfortable with, and give them like that. Like that's a healthy conversation. And those conversations definitely need to be had throughout the entire season, win or lose, right? That's just,
Right.
just communication between you and your offensive coordinator and Justin, as well. And the O-line. We're all in this together, right? It's all one big organism that, all of us have like, I'm like the liver, someone's like the heart, the brain, like we all work together to make this thing work. And, when I'm the liver, like I can't go tell the brain, like, hey, you have to do this. And, tell the heart, hey, you have to do, like, we all have to do our job. And then we all work together. And then if we do that, it comes together. And if things aren't going right, it's like, okay, let's try to reconfigure a little bit. Like, here's the thing. We can't change our identity. You start your identity from training camp, from OTAs. That's when that's set. And so it's like, we know the players we have, we know how we're going to play. And now we're just trying to put ourselves in the correct, I guess, sequence to get rhythms going, because we just didn't get a rhythm last game. We were inefficient. We were going too many three and outs, and that's the first time we've ever had that. In the first 3 games of the season, and that's another thing. It's only week 3. Like everyone chill out. Still in September, man. If we're in November, December, and this is still happening, then it's like, okay, yeah, that was our identity. And now there's definitely an issue, and there's going to be a lot of changes that are probably going to be made in the offseason, right? And so it's our job to focus, like you said, week to week, to make sure that we play at the highest level. And so what does that mean? That means we stay together. And so as a team, making sure that we're practicing it as hard as we can, trying to simulate as much of, the Texans defense or Texans offense as we can to get ourselves the best look. But it's day to day. And then regardless of who's healthy, who's not, it doesn't matter. We're playing the Texans on Sunday, and I'm going to be out there trying to do my best with whatever scheme it is and believing in it 100%, because I believe we have the right guys to put us in right positions to win. And we have enough talent to get it done.
Yeah, no, you guys definitely have talent. Like you said, it's week 3, man. Or we were going into week 4, right? Like it's only been 3 games. What did Justin Turner say when we interviewed him, that his team last year started off like 6-0 and like limped into the playoffs 6-7? That's his like fake fantasy team. That's a case like for real life teams too, real life players. Like I said, you got to ride the wave out there, people, and just relax. If we're still having the same conversation in November and December, that's a different story. But right now we're still in September. There's a long way to go, man. We're going to jump into our Ask Austin questions here, but just last thing, I obviously do got to, check in with you about Justin Herbert, man. How's Justin feeling? I will say, and you can, again, you shoot me down on this, because I don't want to be what you said with Justin Turner, where the media likes controversy or anything like that. I'm certainly not that type of guy. It did just strike me that Justin was in the game as long as he was, when, it's 38-10 and he's dealing with something super painful. Off base reaction or no?
I mean, I'm not sure. That's out of my call. That's out of my jurisdiction. Right. I'm staying in my lane. I'm staying in my lane. That's a call that he and himself and his training staff and our head coach have to make. And they, felt he was okay to play and stay in the game. So I can't say much more than that, because I don't know.
There you go. That's an answer right there. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into your Ask Austin questions for this week. All right, Austin, let's get to some of these email questions. We've got some good ones this week. Remember, people, ask Austin at yahoosports.com. You can send your emails, whether they're written, audio, video, whatever. And Austin and I will answer whatever questions you have on a future episode. So first one here, this one comes in from India.
India. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes,
I believe Mayor or Meyer. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but that is the listener sending this in from India. Shout out to you listening all the way from over there. That's pretty awesome.
What's up?
Based on recent performances from most, if not all, running backs, is it time to move on from drafting running backs in the first round and rather get wide receiver ones who are trending to be more efficient and less injury prone? What is your reaction to that? Because I would say, look, I mean, you're pretty different from most like traditional running backs, right? This is one thing, like within all positions. I mean, obviously you run the ball, you try to be efficient, like you say, with your opportunities, but what you do is really different from a guy like Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry, right? Like it's just different players within the position. Like this is certainly true with wide receivers, right? Like what Mike Williams does is really different from what Keenan Allen does, even if it's at the end of the day, all the same stats or whatever. So any thoughts on that? Like with the whole idea of moving on from drafting running backs in the first round, there's a 0 RB strategy out there, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think we've seen just a new emergence of some stud quarterbacks and being connected with some stud receivers. And I think that's really played a factor into seeing these really standout receivers continue to, outperform, running backs in fantasy football. And I think it's like a new wave of these guys that have come up. So it's kind of like, oh, like, look, we got some new guys out here that are just getting it done. And so, there might be some validity in that, but it depends on the offense that these people are in,
Right.
When I'm looking at, like Jonathan Taylor, like he's the stud on his offense, like he's going to be getting a lot of the carries, a lot of the attention with the ball. Same with Derrick Henry. And so it goes back to like, I look at like the Bills, and as far as the skill position, Justin Jefferson, like that's their guy. As far as, the best players on their team, as far when it goes to a fantasy. So I don't think it's a bad strategy, because that you bring up the injury part, like that's real. That's real. There's a reason receivers get paid so much more than running backs do, right? The injury part, and they're getting in the deep part of the field, right? Mm-hmm. We say it. We have a saying around the Chargers, like, the money's made in the deep part of the field. If you can get us, to the 15, 20 yards down the field, that's where you're going to make money, regardless if you're a running back getting us down there, quarterback's throwing it there, or you're a corner defending it there, safety, that's where the money's made down there.
Right.
Or if you can stop a quarterback from throwing it down there, like the DNs, things like that. And so look, it's not a bad strat. It's not a bad strat. I definitely think there's obviously a place, especially in PPR, for, running backs that are going to be catching the ball, especially like myself, obviously catching the ball a ton. Got to get in the end zone for sure. Like that's a factor. But I think there's definitely an argument there. I think there's an argument for both, honestly.
Yeah. The saying is like every strategy works if you pick the right players, right? That's
what I was going to say.
Immediately tell you. Yeah. I would say this year, one of my biggest takeaways through the first 3 weeks with fantasy in particular, the late round quarterback strategy emerged as like the thing to do from probably, I would say like 2000, like my buddy JJ Zacharyson wrote the ebook literally titled Late Round Quarterback, and like outlining the strategy of why you needed to not take, like, at the time it was like, Peyton Manning and like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, like these even Matthew Stafford had the like crazy 2011 5,000 yard passing season or whatever. Like, you don't want to take those guys. You actually want to wait to the late rounds and take, quarterbacks that are going to put up similar numbers, because the value of the position is like replaceable in fantasy, all this like dork level stuff. But honestly, right now, to me, like, if you didn't draft Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, or even Jalen Hurts, who went later than these guys, like, you are playing a different sport basically in fantasy, because those guys, what they do, and obviously Justin, I think, was drafted in this group, but he's been hurt. So this is a separate conversation. Like, if you don't have one of those quarterbacks that can put up like bonkers passing numbers and also run it too, like, good luck if you're playing like,
right.
Let me tell you what, I took Tom Brady on a lot of teams, right? And they've had injuries as well. But like our weekly scores, shoot, it's not even comparable at this point.
I know, man. It's crazy seeing what some of these guys are doing. And like I'm saying, it's like this new wave of these studs. I was talking about the skill position. Now we talk about the quarterbacks, these mobile quarterbacks that are throwing it down, that are just extending plays, making stuff happen, not only through the air, but on the ground, out running out of the pocket, throwing like, Pat Mahomes, the guy we do go against, does that all the time, that are scoring 30, 40 points a game. It's like, how do you not draft how do you not draft that early? That's not consistent in a lot of other positions, No. But you got Lamar Jackson, who's running for 100, throwing for 3, and there's 4 or 5 touchdowns in there. It's like, What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. So we definitely got some special stuff going on in the NFL. That's what makes it exciting, right? Like when you have these players that are really exciting to watch, like that's what drives views, that's drive revenue. And, it's what drives you to win if you have them on your team in fantasy.
Yeah. And honestly, like things are cyclical, back 15 years ago in the first round of fantasy drafts, it was just like all running backs. Now, like the question sends in, it's like now wide receiver ones. Like it was a real conversation. Shoot, should we take Cooper Kupp at the first overall pick? Which, 5-10 years ago, nobody's taking a receiver the first overall pick. But now at this point, let me tell you what, if you got Cooper Kupp on your team, you're feeling pretty good about your life right now. And just similarly too with these quarterbacks, like I think we're starting to get to a point where these guys like Lamar, like Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts too. Like shout out to Jalen Hurts. That guy's balling out right now. These guys are legitimate difference makers and advantages where they weren't probably in where quarterbacks weren't in previous years, because they can put up running back numbers and quarterback numbers all in 1 week, and that's pretty hard to beat. So that I think is that's.
But I will say this: it is still early. It is still early, my friend. So we'll see how it plays out. But as of now, these quarterbacks are popping off. Yeah.
Absolutely popping off. It's pretty cool to see, man. Another question we got in here. I love this one. Hey, Austin, huge fan, but I'm disappointed on why EA Sports and Madden 23 keeps disrespecting you. First, your rating is horrendous. Second, they don't even have your face scan. Have you seen it yet? This comes in from Orlando.
So I've officially given up on Madden because I did go to the face scanner. I went into this little setup they have. You stand there, you boom, they flash. They took 100 pictures of you at once in a circle. And so I'm like, cool. Like, my avatar was terrible before. I'm going to get it fixed. Went and did the scan. I go and see it. It's basically the same thing. So I don't know if I'm confused and I don't know what I look like, or if my
I don't think that's it.
Is my complexion of my skin like 4 shades darker than it really is to me? Because when I look at my avatar, I'm way darker than I am in real life. Like I'm a light skin, guy. And then like my facial structure, like I don't have any facial hair. Like I don't know. So at this point, if that didn't fix it, look, it is what it is. So maybe someone has it out for me over there. But look, you control what you can control. I did my part. They got to hold up their end.
Yeah, you've done all you can. I got a couple friends who work over at EA Sports. I'll figure out who there has got it in for you.
Someone's got some beef. Telling you.
I'll work on that. Next question we got here, and I wanted to ask you this because you're holding the guitar right now. Sebastian asked, "What do you like to do as a hobby to get your mind off football?" If people follow you on Instagram, they've seen like some of the videos you put out with you playing the guitar and stuff like that. So, we've talked about this off air. I've played since I was like 11 years old. I used to be great. I can still play a little bit. I mean, I'm still fine, but like I don't play nearly as much as I used to because I have this little job thing going on. I'm a real adult now.
Oh yeah, job, responsibilities.
Yeah. I don't play in like rock shows anymore. Like I used to.
You should. That should be your hobby.
That's being generous to call it like playing in rock shows, by the way. I'm talking like people's backyards and basements and like maybe my church band. So, which my mom made me do. So, what are some of your hobbies like to get your mind off football, man?
That's actually hilarious. But yeah, man, I've been playing the guitar for like probably 2 months now. So nothing crazy. I'm very, very beginner, but some things that I love to do, really, I think it comes down to one common theme, which is trying, like literally what my shirt says, trying to help people like become the best version of themselves. And what do I mean by that? Like I love doing stuff with my foundation. I'm working on an app right now that basically can bridge the gap between fans and influential people, and just help, create more offerings there. Obviously playing the guitar. I play some video games here and there. I have this show. I also have another show that's starting up on Twitch. It'll be a live feed. It's it's called the Ekeler Dome. So you come into the dome. We do some challenges and stuff like that.
What kind of challenges?
It's like gaming challenges. Like, I'll have like, if I had you as a guest, we would challenge each other and go through, like, we might do like a water bottle flip challenge, and there's like voting in the chat on like whose side you're on and prizes and things like that. It'll be a sequence of challenge based on how many lives we have. So it'll be a fun time.
You're gonna have a home field advantage on that one if it's the Ekeler Dome, right? Like people are voting on the winner there.
It's actually super funny. Like the logo for it is like the front of my face and then like a dome attached onto the back of my head. It's the Ekeler. Gotta check it out. It's the Ekeler Dome. But yeah, I'll definitely actually. So you would think I would have a home field advantage, right? In my own stream, like it's my viewers. But no, I have a bunch of knuckleheads in my stream that want to see me fail or want to make it hard for me. I used to play. Quick story. I used to play this game called I don't even know what it's called, but basically the chat could decide to give you options or give you like attributes or give you like items. And there was always like a troll item, an okay item, and then an overpowered one. And they want to see me struggle. They're giving me these troll items because they think it's funny. So we'll see how that goes. See how it goes. But yeah, just a lot of miscellaneous community stuff that I really enjoy.
Yeah, Austin, you love interacting with people. I think that's really a big takeaway here.
Yes.
You know, whether it's in real life, online, everything like that, and you're doing good stuff out there. Last question we have here from the Ask Austin at yahoosports.com email address. This one actually comes in from my sister. Shout out to Emily. Emily Ansel sends in. She actually it was so funny. She was texting me on Sunday like, hey, I need you to ask one of your like guys that you know in the NFL some of these questions. I was like, well, like you could send this into the email address, right? She sent in a bunch of like travel and logistics questions that Austin doesn't know the answer to. Sorry, but Austin doesn't know the answer to how many planes take what different type of equipment, stuff like that. But this question, I think this one's interesting. When you're out there playing, does the magnitude of it all really hit you, or does it just feel like any football game you've played your whole life? How much do crowds and cameras really hit you?
Yeah, so this is it's super interesting actually, because if it's super loud, yeah, we can hear it, but imagine you're so focused on one thing and just what is right in front of you, like it basically like blinds everything else around you. And we prepared so much for, if it's going to be a loud game, for not going on a cadence and things like that. So you're just reacting, off a ball snap or, some type of movement. And so like you really have this like adrenaline rush that helps you stay hyper focused. And like, I don't even really realize there's a crowd even there besides just the noise. It's just like, it's just loud. And that's all it is. It's like, it's just energy to me. Like, that's why I don't care if like there's a lot of away fans or home fans. Like, I just want energy in the stadium because that makes it more exciting to feel like the ups and downs of how the crowd's reacting. But yeah, cameras, we don't ever, really pay attention to that at all. Cause like, it's really just what is right in front of us and everything pretty much else is blocked out. And it's strange because you would think like, man, like there's so many people here, like that could affect you. Like it really doesn't. It really doesn't at all. And maybe it's because I've been, playing in front of the crowds for, 20 plus years of my life, that I've probably built up some tolerance to stay focused. But it is actually interesting because it's like, man, like I don't really notice it. Like, it's just like a blur, but everything is crystal clear on the field.
It's funny. I was watching your guys' game against the Jaguars, and there was a moment where I think it was James Robinson, who looks great this year too, by the way. I think he got a long run, went off the sideline, like in towards the stand. And there was this Chargers fan who literally like, because he was like this close to him. Like he went right up to the edge of the stadium. The Chargers fan was like, flipped him off twice and like actually tried to knock the ball like out of his hand. And it was so funny to me because James Robinson just didn't acknowledge it at all. Like he just walked back. Maybe he didn't even notice. He didn't feel like the guy's like swatting at the ball, which come on, bro. Like you're act like a freaking adult. Seriously. But he just didn't notice it at all. I think some guys are so like just dialed in. You just don't even realize like, oh, there's a crowd. It's like you said, there's just noise. Yeah,
it really is, for whatever reason, I don't know. The human brain just allows us to hyper focus on something and really drowned out all the excess noise.
It's amazing, man. It's crazy how you're able to do that. It's just like, it's an inconvenience, right? You see quarterbacks like trying to get the play call in, like doing the, like covering up on the helmet, that whole thing, but you learn to work around it. It's cool to see, man.
That's what we do. We're athletes, man. We're competitors. That's what you got to do. You got to adapt and adjust. As humans, that's what we do, right? So we're naturals at it.
100%. All right. That's all of our email questions. Again, folks, ask Austin at yahoosports.com. You can ask him anything. Don't send a pitch in for what he can go say to Coach Staley to get himself more touches, because as he said earlier, that ain't gonna happen. Maybe let that dream go. It is what it is, man. So Austin, coming into this week, I'm actually curious, less so about like Chargers, Texans, stuff like that. We know you have a couple fantasy teams out there, man. How are your fantasy teams going?
Ooh, my fantasy teams are kicking butt right now. So I have someone who helps me manage it. Because I have 6 different teams, and that's a lot of upkeep. And then so for my teams, I don't own them. My foundation owns them. So I'm just kind of I speak over the league kind of thing, and talk to everybody, just keep everyone included. But those teams, I think 3 of those ones are 3-0.
Must be nice.
One is 2-1. My Twitch stream league, which is 20 people. It's a 20-person league. It's absolutely brutal. It's brutal. I strongly would not recommend. Don't do it. If I got third stringers that I'm hoping get a point for me on my starting squad. I'm like, come on, man, get in there and do something. Get one catch. Don't recommend it. I'm 0-3 in that league. 0-3. And then I have another league with Michael Fabiano, the celebrity league. And
I'm familiar with Fabs.
Yeah, Fabs. So I just beat him too, just crushed him.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
We used to work together.
2-1 in that one.
So yeah, I know Fabs.
Okay. So yeah, I'm 2-1 in that league. So looking solid right now, besides the 20-person league. But last year, I think someone with a losing record won that league. That's how wild it is.
Well, yeah. My God,
because
20 people,
12 people make the playoffs. So you're gonna have people with losing records making the playoffs. So it's interesting.
How do who are some guys even on your roster in that league?
I don't even know. I'd have to check. I think I got myself in that one. So that I'm not helping myself right now as far as fantasy goes.
Shoot.
Yeah, I know. I'm picking it up. I'm trying. So let's see. Because I'm curious too. I have so many leagues that I forget. So yeah. Kirk Cousins, my QB. Oh yeah. So Tony Pollard and Javonte Williams are my 2 running backs.
That's not bad.
No, not bad at all. Then I had Keenan, who's obviously out. And then Adam Thielen, who's I don't know how that's been going. Hunter Henry, he was my guy. So I got 3 targets on the year. So that's not going well for fantasy.
No.
Then,
but who's on the bench there? Who's on the bench in a team like that?
So I got who's this? Khalil Herbert. Yeah, I got to get him starting because
dude, he's gonna probably start this week. David Montgomery is injured, so he might start this week. That's a huge one for you.
I got Boston Scott. That's my guy, Boston. And then Cameron Brate, I think is how it says, my backup tight end. So there's only 5 bench spots.
I mean, for God's sakes, in a league like that, I don't think you need deep benches or whatever. You're literally going to be who's in the damn XFL I can pick up or something like that at that point.
Potentially could, yeah. So it's struggling on that one, but all the other ones doing solid, yeah.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. I've got some teams that are 0-3, some that are 1-2, some that are.
How many teams do you have? 9, you said?
I think I'd have to really go back and look at it, but I'm pretty sure. This is really compelling audio right here. I'm pretty sure it's 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Including one dynasty team.
And you manage them all by yourself?
I've never done the co-managing thing. I know Justin Turner talked about that. I know you're talking about that. I've never done that. Yeah. I just manage them myself, but that's the thing when you have that's way too many teams. And there are some sickos who have way more than that. I'll also say. And I just don't, it's I'm never going to have a great fantasy season because I can't dedicate my time. I got a real job. I got a real life. You gotta narrow these down. You gotta get the top 3 and stick with them. I know you end up, you know what it is, man. And I'm not going to say this is oh, look at me, but I end up doing a lot of charity leagues. And that it's I feel like a jerk saying no to Like, oh, Matt, can you play in this charity league? Like,
yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I should just be like, just send me the donation link. Just send me the donation link. You don't want my ass.
Yeah, there you
in
go.
the league
There you go.
doing it at this point. So
there you go.
we'll
you gotta know how to
that.
say no. That's a real thing. You gotta know how to say no in life. Like that's.
Nah, you're right, man. I got to get better about that. All right. We've got another big guest coming on the show here. We got Giants running back Saquon Barkley coming up. Let's throw that interview. This is going to be awesome. All right. Joining us now is Giants running back Saquon Barkley. Saquon, welcome to Ekeler's Edge. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Heck yeah, man. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you play any fantasy or anything like that, but you've been making a splash this year. So it's good to see you back being yourself, being the best version of yourself. Are you in any fantasy leagues? You dabble in any of it?
Nah, I'm not in any fantasy leagues. I kind of try to stay away from all that stuff and, just focus on just playing the game and, enjoying the sport. I am aware of how big it is and how much people are invested into it. Especially when you're playing on a Monday night, you got multiple messages of, I need this amount of points from you, or please don't get these amount of points this week.
Right.
So it's fun. It's a cool way to interact with the fans, but I kind of stay away from it.
Yeah, I get it. There's so many just different types of fans, right? Like, and especially in the fantasy where they have money on the line, they have competition, like the toxicity, the positivity, like I get it. So that's what one of our missions here on the show is to kind of set the record straight as far as like how to properly like talk to us, like treat us like actually humans, right? Because like, look, if you want us to have any type of interaction with you, you better start off on the right foot, right? And if you're coming at us saying, hey, we need this, you suck, I need this, like, okay, no acknowledgement, right? That's what we're trying to avoid. So I get it. But definitely, huge opportunity out there as far as exposure, as far as, fan base. Obviously, you've been able to build that up, but in the fantasy world as well. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, honestly, one of the best picks you could make this year so far was Saquon Barkley in the second round, man, because you've been crushing it, dude. I mean, I think not only just from the stats perspective, I feel like right now you're running better, than you have maybe ever. I think you look fantastic. You look great against the Cowboys on Monday night, man. It's just like X said, it's good to see you just healthy and out there crushing it again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's just all about getting your confidence back, having to battle with injuries the past years. But just being able to go through OTAs, be able to go through the whole offseason, not really focus on rehabbing, more of just, you can focus on yourself, getting your body ready for the grind of the season and then getting to camping and be able to practice. And for me, that's something that lacked. I didn't have those practice reps in the last couple of years just because battling injuries. And to have that, and that's where it all starts: practice, getting those practice reps, building that confidence, so you can go out there and make plays. And not even right now, I don't feel like I'm in mid-season form. I can agree with this. Like as the season goes, especially as a running back, to continue to gain your rhythm, continue to just building that chemistry with your O-line. And 2-1, obviously not happy with the results of last night, but not bad, not off to a bad start. And we just got to keep going.
Heck yeah, man. You're speaking of the grind of the season practice, right? The repetitiveness. I am curious from a personal standpoint, just because like I have this like reputation out here with the Chargers, like workout warrior, all this stuff. Like what was your in season workout routine? Like how many days are you working out? Like a week, stuff like that?
First I want to say, I do think you and Nick Chubb, I see all the videos. I think we got to link up one day in the offseason and put it to rest and see who got the better max squats and all that good stuff. But for me, it kind of changed. From coming to college, I was in that mindset of just lift, get strong, lift, get strong. And you're still in that mindset too. I still put on the heavy weights and still get after it. But it's more about mobility. It's more about flexibility. It's more about having strength and being strong in those movements that correlate to the football field. And just putting my body in positions where, you can't really prevent injuries. Injuries just happen. It's the nature of football. But the injuries that you can prevent or the ways you can help yourself to become a better player is really what I've been adding to my in-season regimen, whether it's working on knees, ankle mobility, shoulder mobility, stability, all those things. Just trying to be a better pro, and that's the way I've been kind of attacking this season.
For sure. And then for those of you that don't know, when we're in college, like college lifting is like, it's like military. It's like everything's to a regiment. It's like grind you into the ground. Right. And then it's like, that's not sustainable. Right. And so for us, like what Saquon's talking about right now is this longevity of your career, where it's talking about more mobility, functionality, those functional movements, not necessarily, trying to be the strongest all the time year round. And so, I can relate to that. But I don't know. To me, it always feels good to just get under a squat bar. Like, I love squatting. That's my favorite lift.
There's like a thing. It's something about it. Whether it's squats, whether it's hex bar, deadlift. There's a mental side of it too. Just putting something on the bar, and just getting after it, and like knowing like, okay, it's still there. I still got it. And but like you said, there's a time and place where to challenge yourself. And in season, you definitely still can challenge yourself, but just do it in a smart way, because like you said, in college, with that military mindset, that grind you to the ground mindset. But here it's a 17-week season, and you hope for more. So you got to be able to sustain that.
No doubt.
I feel like we just talked about that a couple episodes, Austin, about like, flexibility, mobility, like I brought up like the yoga part of it and everything too. I love hearing about this stuff. I'm not a professional athlete, obviously, no kidding. But I went through like a fitness journey myself. I lost like 100 pounds. So it's a big part of my life. And I love hearing about this stuff from you guys, man. So that's really cool, Saquon. Like, I think people really underrate like mobility and flexibility and everything like that. One thing I kind of wanted to touch base with you on is the culture of the Giants right now. I'm watching like the week 1 game against the Titans. Brian Daboll goes for that like 2-point conversion. You guys win the game on that. And you and like Sterling Shepard, and I feel sick for what happened to Sterling last night, man. It sucks. But like, guys that have been with the Giants for a long time, you're like all up on Brian Daboll, like, getting gassed up about it. Like, what has Brian and this whole kind of organizational shift brought to the team, man?
Just a standard. And that's what you need when you want to change the culture. And that's really what it comes down to, winning football games. It's all about the cultures. And it started with the coaches, and then it goes down to the players. And we got to hold that standard. And every single day come in with that leadership and that mindset. And something that we have a really good group of guys. We're very competitive. We're a competitive bunch. And we're never going to lose. We're never going to lose games off of not coming out there and fighting to the last whistle. And that's a mindset that we don't have. And right now, like I said, 2-1, obviously we're not excited with the way last night went, but it may not be the sexy way. It may not be the fancy way. It may not be putting up 40 points, but the 2 wins that we did get, you got to find a way to grind. And the thing that I'm most proud about this team is no panic. Even last night, to that last play, to the pick, till they took the knee, we really believed that we were going to come back and win that game. When we looked up and it was 23-16, and it was a minute 45 seconds on the clock, we really believed we were going to go down and find a way to win the game. And that's just a mindset that we got to continue to have, that competitive stamina, and continue to believe in each other.
And that's what it's about, bro. Like, that's what it's about. Like, every week, like, win or lose, it doesn't matter. We're coming back to work as hard as we can again, starting Wednesday, Thursday, right? All the way leading up into the game. And so, bro, it's the same across the board, right? And then it's like, okay, how can your pieces fit together to put some type of product on the field? Then it comes down to people being consistent, making plays. So that's
every week is, if you really look at it, no one really gets blown out in the NFL, even when it's like, say if you lose by 14, 17 points, like it's 1 or 2 plays that really makes a difference. And most of the time those games come down to a field goal, or to 1 touchdown, or to a last second drive. You got to go down there and try to finish the game. And those are the games that we lost in the past. And, right now we were able to win 2 out of 3 of those games. And it's a long season. So we just got to continue to not hit that panic button. When you lose in New York or you lose anywhere in the NFL, everyone's like, oh man, like, what's going on? How you guys going to recover? And people fail to realize there's only ever been one team to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl. It's the NFL. It's a tough league, and you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your peaks and valleys, but can't get too caught up on it.
Facts. Facts, especially this early in the season. Like everyone calm down. Everyone calm down. Things will play out how they're supposed to, and then we can, after the season, make our opinions on what the heck happened based on what happened.
Yeah,
good stuff, brother.
Yeah, it's all about riding that wave. I feel like we've said that 100 times on this show, Austin. Seasons are different pockets, right? Like what happens in September can be real different than what happens in December, and obviously January now too with the way that, this is week 18, man. Season's longer than ever, So give me a break with making too many early judgments. So Saquon, you're here on behalf of Courtyard by Marriott. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on there, man.
Yeah, I'm here on behalf of Courtyard Marriott, the official hotel of the NFL, and they're coming out with a new all season long thing for fans, where fans can really tap into the fandom and give them some unique, cool experience. This is where we fan is actually what's called. And, we'll have a Fansgiving where fans can come on the 50-yard line at MetLife Stadium, have a dinner with me, and, get to see MetLife Stadium, get all the cool experience there, the backstages and all that. And the way they can do that is by posting a video on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and tagging Courtyard fans. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to work with Courtyard. I'm all about giving back and, have an opportunity to give back to fans and spend time with fans. And I think it's a cool, unique experience.
Yeah, man, that's sick. I'm big into fan engagement too, man, because it's like the smallest interaction can go so far for somebody's life, right? As far as putting them on, maybe they gain some new motivation, or maybe they gain a new respect for you, and that's helping you grow your brand and your reputation. Because as I've said this before, but our legacy lives within our fans, right?
Yeah.
Like what people think of Saquon is what people like. That's where your legacy is, And so it's like, that's why it's so important to give back. That's why it's so important to have some type of engagement, because if you don't have anything, then now you're leaving it up to other people's judgment. You're not steering. You can't necessarily steer it like it's a car. It's more like a boat, like a big boat, right? Where you can steer it, and it takes time for that thing to turn, but you got to keep putting effort into it to get that thing to turn. So, man, go get yourself some dinner with Saquon. That's what's up. I like it. I like it.
That's a good opportunity. And that's what this show is all about, is, like I said, seeing you guys as people and building that legacy on and off the field. I love it, man. It's so cool. Last thing for you here, Saquon, this is something I said to Austin a couple episodes ago. I feel like, and you brought it up too with Nick Chubb and, maybe you guys getting together, doing some sort of lift off in the off season. There needs to be like a running back fraternity or something. Because, like the tight ends got like the tight end U thing, but there's a lot of like critics out there about running backs, there people say literally like running backs don't matter. There's like a hashtag, like people,
there's a hashtag for all of those. Come on now.
Yeah. But people really pull that BS though with like running backs. So I'm trying to pitch you guys to like come to, and it's ridiculous. Obviously it's a stupid narrative. Like I'm trying to build you guys into something. It needs to be some sort of like running back fraternity. Maybe we get to Ekeler's Edge in the off season, do like some kind of big liftoff thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should. One, I think we just talked about interacting with fans. I think that would be a cool way to interact with fans if we had like a liftoff. Obviously, we want to be safe, we want to be smart about it. I think it'd be fun, it'd be competitive. But it is already a brotherhood. It's nothing but love, mutual respect with the position that we play. Like you said, people got a lot of things to say no matter what. And that's why I think it's cool, kind of going back to the experience and the fan engagement. And because you also get to like having dinner with Fansgiving and with Courtyard by Marriott, the official hotel of the NFL, you are able to sit down and have dinner and it's like get to know me. It's more to me than just a football player. It's more to all of us, it's just football players. We actually have a personality, we have a life. So I think that would be another cool thing to do is get together, see us lift, get to meet us, interact with us, get to know us outside of football. And it's a different way to engage with fans.
You're talking my language, man. Look at this guy. Yeah. I love it, man.
Love to see it. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, Saquon. This was awesome. We really appreciate it. And good luck the rest of the season, man. Stay healthy and continue to crush it, my guy.
Before I go, I think I messed up. It's hashtag Courtyard fan contest. If you guys want to get in on that, obviously, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to eat dinner with me on Fansgiving, but for all the fans, I think that'll be a cool experience. So I appreciate you guys for having me.
Absolutely, brother.
All right, Austin, what a great show. Great episode with a couple of great guests. Good to check in with you, man. I'm hoping for the best this week for the Chargers after a down week in week 3. Let's go, man. I'm feeling good about week 4, feeling good about the rest of the season for you, for this show, for everybody out there.
Yeah. It's ups and downs, but that's where, like I said, that's where the adversity, that's where the growth, that's where it lies. It's in those peaks and valleys, right? Because that's where you can climb out of and then feel better about yourself because you got something done, even though it was hard and it wasn't looking great. So regardless, the show is always going to be fire. We'll make sure we bring as much energy, win or lose, bringing the energy to the show and to our guest. Shout out to our guest for coming on today. Some 2 absolute legends, and looking forward to next week, my guy.
Yeah, if there's one theme of this episode, just ride the wave, man. We got to ride the wave with this season for fantasy, for the Chargers, for Austin, for me, for you. That is going to do it for us. Thanks again to Justin Turner and Saquon Barkley for joining us on this episode. You can follow Austin on Twitter or Instagram at Austin Ekeler. You can follow me at Matt Harmon _BYB. And while you're there, for God's sakes, make sure you're following at Yahoo Fantasy. I'm going to be back tomorrow with Dalton Del Don tomorrow for our Stat Nerd Thursday episode. Until then, we're out.